Welcome to Insync, the Female Game. I am Michelle Galbraith. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to delve into the curious conversation of female health, natural methods of keeping our bodies and mind healthy, vibrant and energised. Today I'm talking to Bummy about crystals. Bummy, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
So we're just going to have a little chat for the next half an hour about crystals and how you became interested in them and what a difference they've made to you in your life, and indeed how it can assist other women with their own health adversities or health goals. Mm-hmm. So, Bummy, how did you first become interested in crystals?
Really, it really started back in 2008. I was going through quite a few personal challenges. And I remember one morning getting up, sitting on my bed. I think I was really facing what we call burnout, meltdown. And I was going through a divorce, the challenges of divorce, busy with 2 young children, multitasking, full-time, highly stressful job, profession. And at that moment in time, I really felt like I couldn't cope. And that was a really, really scary time for me, where all my organisational skills, all of that just seemed to be going by the wayside. I wasn't eating very well, I wasn't sleeping well. You know, I was feeling really fearful, very stressed and anxious and just out of control. Didn't know what the outcome of my divorce was going to be. And I felt very lost. And what I found was I had to try and get a handle on it. I knew I had to, otherwise I'm going downhill.
And how did you find the crystals? How did they find you?
Well, the interesting thing was I didn't want to go down the medical route. I didn't want to go down the Prozac route or taking any medications whatsoever. I was really opposed to that for myself. And by chance I was talking to an acquaintance of mine who had a friend who was what we call a shaman. So she that used all sorts of different natural practices, and one of them was crystals. And I've never come across crystal healers before. I was a bit sceptical, being a scientist. I didn't particularly believe in it, but at that particular time, I was just open to anything at all, and that was a big key for me. I'm just going to keep an open mind. Then I had an appointment with her. I decided to book with her, and Anna was beautiful woman, somebody that I know today, and we worked together today as well. And my first crystal healing was just brilliant. I mean, it was just as soon as I got off the bed, I just felt a lot better.
So when you first experienced, so you were lying on a bed and she put different crystals on your body, which we'll we'll go into that in a minute of what they were and why she used them. Mm-hmm. But how were you feeling when you first went into the room to have your treatment? What were your physical symptoms?
The physical symptoms was basically anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. That had taken over my life, and I couldn't really focus on things very well. My attention span was a lot shorter, and I felt incredibly scared. And that was the process of deciding to really sort of take action before it became a real serious problem.
Yeah. And then after your treatment, which was for how long?
The treatment lasted about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And it was lovely because she did ask me questions. She went through what was going on at the time. So she really went into that and assessed me. And then she started the treatment.
Okay. And then so how you felt after the hour and a half when you got off the couch? What was that feeling? Can you remember what that felt like?
Yeah, I do distinctly, because it was a shift. It was an immediate shift, and it was almost like the edges had been rubbed away. All the sharp edges of what I was feeling had just softened. Mm-hmm. That's the one way I can describe it. Is it just felt, my life felt a little bit smoother, a little bit more gentle. Mm-hmm. And feeling a bit more gentle about myself and not as hard on myself. And I thought, well, maybe it's only going to last for another hour or so, and by the time I get home, I'm back to square one. But it didn't. Mm-hmm. And, they sort of carried on for the next few days. She gave me some advice, obviously. She, I requested some crystals that she advised, and I took them from her. Yeah. And it felt really, really good. I started to focus a little bit more. It was just like a chink. It was just like a little doorway that just opened.
So tell me about the crystals that you went home with. What were they, and what were they for? How were they going to help you, and where would you place them on your body?
The main one for me, and it's my all-time favourite, is amethyst. And amethyst is as anybody knows, it's a purple stone. It's a quartz, and it's one of the master healers. For me, it was brilliant because it did really calm down my emotions. It's called a tranquilizer stone, so it's a stone of calm. It soothes you, and what I felt was a sense of peace around it. You know, I could actually start to live life a little bit more aware of what was going on around me and appreciating that. I really felt a sense of everything was okay, even though I was going through the trials and tribulations of divorce. It just smoothed the edges away. There was more acceptance around what was happening. You know, I wasn't fighting things as much, and I was using that on a daily basis. I was cleansing it regularly, as suggested. I was placing it either by my bedside or underneath my pillow. I was carrying it. A lot of the time I was carrying it down, you know, sticking it down my bra, put it in my pocket, trouser pocket, anywhere at all. I had that crystal with it. That was my anchor. Okay. And even just looking at it, it was just a comfort.
It just made you feel better just
looking at it.
It made me feel a lot
better,
yeah. Okay. Did you have any other stones that you brought home with you?
Yes, very uplifting stones, such as carnelian. That was for motivation, confidence. You know, my confidence was at rock bottom, and it was a really good stone, a really good energy to lift me, and I needed that lift, you know, to carry on, moving forward. Also citrine as well. That was for, you know, willpower and giving me the solar plexus, giving me, you know, that energy to kind of carry on through all what was happening. So that was really lovely. And sunstone as well, a lovely gentle stone as well that goes solar plexus as well. Okay. To, you know, just give me that joy, you know, just give me that sense of joy again.
Yeah, bring your sense of self back into an awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. So tell me a little bit about the history of crystals, and maybe if it's relevant, some of, you know, are there any Western scientific references to it?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. Crystals have been used across ancient civilizations all over the world, and there's lots of records of crystals being used for healing in Roman times, Egyptian times, Chinese, Tibet, and they've used crystals for centuries. And what they were admired and they were adored and they were worshipped. I mean, you look at the Egyptians, for instance, they were heavy into crystals. You had the pharaohs carrying cylinders of clear quartz, for instance, to energise and balance their bar, what they call the bar and the car, the sort of the chi energies, the life force energies. They would carry them around. You had, you know, Cleopatra, for instance. She would carry lapis. For more intuition and more awareness, and in fact they'd crush lapis lazuli and use it as eyeshadow. And so they would adorn themselves with crushed crystals. You'd have dancers in the time pop in ruby in their navels to, you know, increase their sexual prowess, for instance, or using crystals for opening the heart chakra. So you've got your, you know, your rose quartzes, etc., and adorning themselves with crowns laden with crystals for enlightenment and spiritual awareness. Then you have the Romans who went to war with amulets of carnelian and tiger's eye, you know, for leadership. So there's so many different ways that the ancient times used crystals.
Okay, and so when did crystals become more known in the West, you know, in the modern world, in the Western world?
I think crystals sort of came into their own. I mean, there's a very much of a new age thing, but I think for people and to sort of see the evidence of the energies of crystals, we're looking at what we have today. Like, for instance, the watch. You know, it has a quartz, and evidence is that the energies of the quartz power the watch. So we have quartz, you know, watches. Then you're looking at silicon chips in computers. They power computers. So silicon comes from, you know, the crystals in the earth. We're also looking at things like the LCD screen. If you open up your laptop, you've got your LCD. So that's your your liquid crystal display, and that's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Again, that's evidence that crystals are, used in science.
Yeah.
Also, ruby was one of the first crystals to be used for lasers in the Bell laboratories in the 1960s. To focus and concentrate the energy. So there's lots and lots of evidence in the kind of mechanical side of science that crystals work.
Yeah.
So in fact, that again is a natural for me as a scientist looking at that. Well, why doesn't it work on ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of getting some clarity around that and how to actually use them and focus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, Bunmi, what do you enjoy most about crystal healing?
I enjoy the effect it has on the client and on myself. For me, they're beautiful. It's what I love most about crystal healing is it's very intuitive. And over the years that I've been working with crystals, and I don't say using crystals, I say working with them because they work with us and they're helping us, so they're our co-workers.
Yeah.
I find that it's just really opened up my intuition. It's opened up my powers of own self-healing.
Can you explain a little bit more about your powers of how your intuition has developed? Can you give a little story at all around that?
Yeah, for instance, when I'm carrying amethyst, for instance, and if there's any periods of time where I'm feeling stressed, it just stops me in my tracks and it just puts me in the here and now. And it gives me that time just to kind of breathe and just look at exactly what is stressing me out. And I can compartmentalise it.
Okay.
And I know exactly how I need to deal with a particular situation in a very calm, clear, peaceful way.
Yeah.
And that's what the amethyst has done for me, was to kind of clear that intuition to be able to help me do something.
Yeah.
And it's just like an inner knowing. And that comes with, I think that comes naturally it comes naturally to all of us. But with practice as well, it's really, really powerful.
Yes. So when we're not actually in a stress state, when all of our stress chemicals are pumping around and you feel dizzy at the best of times in a stress state, we are then able to access our higher reasoning when we're calm, when we're not being driven by our emotional centre.
That's right.
We can then make that leap to our prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
And the amethyst is assisting you as a reminder of a strategy to put in play, or do you feel that actually there's an energetic quality that's going on as well?
Both. There's an energetic quality to it, definitely.
Okay.
A lot of people might say it's a placebo effect, that it's an anchor, that's something for you to focus on. I do personally believe there's an energetic science behind it, but it is also an anchor too.
Yeah. So if you were a beginner, you would probably perhaps feel it was more of an anchor, but as you learn and you get more of an expert, you then are able to intuit and feel those subtleties.
Exactly, and subtle energies that they actually give out.
Okay. Yeah. Lovely. So if you had to explain the principles of using crystals when you were talking to an 8-year-old, how would you describe that?
Well, that's quite an interesting question that you put to me, and I really looked at it and I really thought about it. And I know so many young kids that are just intuitively drawn to them. Children have a natural connection to nature and have a natural curiosity around crystals.
So you've turned the question on its head, really, haven't you?
And there is a strong, I've seen, my nephew, my niece, other people's children see my stones, and I just watch them, and they know, they pick up and they think, oh, that feels really nice, or they'll describe rose quartz as soft, or oh, that makes me feel lovely, and I don't have to say anything at all, and they are complete beacons to them. They're complete magnets to crystals. They're amazing. Yeah. And their intuition and their innate ability to sense that the crystal energy is second to none. And that's something I'd really love to look into more, is working with children with crystals. I think that's really, really powerful.
Give them some sort of education around them, as well as them just using them in their natural playful state.
Yeah, but they naturally do sort of talk about it, and they say, oh, this feels really nice, and that makes me feel, questions like that.
Yes.
But if I was describing it to an 8-year-old who didn't really sort of have that sense of, it was quite an interesting thought process through that and how I would describe it. I would first of all start off with the chakras, because that's what crystals, reactivate or re-energise or get spinning nicely. I describe them as 7 spinning tops, little tiny spinning tops. So can you imagine 7 spinning tops up the midline of your body, and they've all got different colours. So the bottom spinning top is red, then the next one's orange, and the next one's yellow, and then the next one's pink, and the next one's light blue, next one's dark blue. So I'd sort of do it like that so they connect. Then I would talk about the little spinning wheels of energy, and that keeps the body going. And when they all spin at the same time in the same direction, then you feel great. But when some slow down or go backwards, then you might not feel so great. And then maybe 1 or 2 might stop, and then you don't feel good at all. And that's where crystals come in. And crystals, there are different crystals for each colour. So there's a colour for a crystal. So the blue crystal will go with the blue spinning top. The orange crystal will go with the orange one. And those crystals have special energies, and they're called vibrations, which connect with the spinning top and just push the spinning top and make it spin nicely again in the right direction. And that's what crystals do to make you feel better.
Yeah. So that's lovely. We go a little bit off tangent with regard to cognition and brain, how our thought processes are concerned. And it's really interesting, at the top of the call here, you've mentioned that you are a scientist.
Yeah.
So how did the scientist reconcile the energetic universal law aspect of what crystals actually represent?
That again was something that I really had to sort of look into and read. But there's a lot of, at the moment, what's coming into the fore is quantum mechanics, dark energies. We're talking about quantum collapse. There's a whole science in itself, and it's very vague at the moment. But these are the sciences that we're looking at to explain how crystals work and how crystals, heal.
And did
help
you
heal? Should I
course,
say help heal?
And at the beginning of your journey, of course, you were in a place of adversity, and you almost will just do anything to be able to feel better. Was there anything in your thought processes that you can remember that felt a bit sceptical about having these? Why don't you just put these rocks on me? And how is that? Was there anything that felt a little bit alien to you about using crystals?
No, the minute I walked through the door, I didn't feel sceptical at all. I just kept a very open mind. I had to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And it was just a natural thing because I was so desperate.
That was the key thing.
That was the key thing.
Yeah.
And, when we look back and, look at Tibetan history and crystal healing, they say the first sign of disease, dis-ease, and discomfort in your body is a closed mind.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a closed mind. So, and what we're seeing now, especially in Western science, is what some people call it the placebo effect, where you have something that automatically makes you feel better. But it's going further than that. Crystals have got the energy. They've got the piezoelectric energies. They emit vibrations. They do their job.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, the first point of healing is self-acceptance.
Yeah.
The first point of healing is accountability. The first point of it is be ready to try these beautiful, modalities. And
yes.
You look at acupuncture, you look at reflexology. They're all part of the mainstream now. I think crystals have always had this kind of woo-woo, hippie chick, new age thing going on, and now it's starting to be accepted as becoming a mainstream thing. So it's lagging behind, but it's getting there.
Lovely. So let's just move on now very quickly to the top 5 health benefits of using crystals for female health. So the 5 areas I think we'll just touch on are firstly female hormones. What would you say would be a good health benefit for using crystals, in relation to the female hormone centres?
Oh, massively. There are an absolute plethora of crystals that will help. Again, I'm going back to my all-time favourite, which is amethyst. It's an all-rounder, and it's one of the best crystals to regulate the endocrine system. And as a whole, amethyst does boost the production of hormones and tunes up the metabolism as well. So for the female hormone system, the endocrine system, it's beautiful. And it's a powerful healer, and it is a cleanser of the body, including the endocrine system.
The amethyst. Okay. And if, say, someone has got, because we need to balance all of our endocrine system in order for our menstrual cycle, for example, to work properly, are there other crystals other than amethyst which are good for your ovaries, for example?
Moonstone.
Moonstone, okay.
Is beautiful. It's got fantastic moon energies.
Right.
And again, it does balance out any unevenness in the sort of ovarian cycle.
Okay.
PMT it regulates as well.
Okay.
And also going through menopause, perimenopausal, postmenopausal, it just regulates things beautifully.
Keeps those
it's
rhythms.
very, very powerful. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. So moving on then to mindset, which you have touched on before. Closed mind is the open mind is the first step to being able to make a change and have a transformation. What sort of stones are good for our brain?
Right, we'd look at, for instance, if we're talking about, there's lots actually, but if we're talking about mindset, we're talking about things like chrysocolla, and that's really, really good in terms of calming you down, and it's balancing out your highs and your lows of any emotions that you're having, and especially through the menstrual cycle, there is a big propensity to have lots of highs and maybe lots of lows. I know in my own experience, I know in my cycle that I go through periods of anger, and I know the awareness of it is my menstrual cycle, which is the first step, and accepting that. Doing anything about it, I would use chrysocolla, blue lace agate's brilliant as well, and it's been able to help me calm those angers, dissipating it and alleviating my stress. So chrysocolla is really good. Moonstone again is really good, especially around when you're having your PMS and menstrual cramps, which can cause you to feel a bit cranky. They're really, really good.
Okay.
And
is there a particular crystal that you can carry around with you all the time in terms of protecting you from your external environment?
Clear quartz.
Clear quartz.
Clear quartz.
Right, okay.
And it really does align all your chakras, really dissipates any negative energies.
Okay.
I also like, there's so many out there. I like labradorite, which is beautiful. Again, a very powerful protector. You're looking at black tourmaline, onyx, obsidian.
Right.
All the black stones are very, very good protectors of negativity.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of people use, for instance, Victoria Beckham, she uses obsidian and tourmaline in her office.
Right.
Just to protect the business.
Yes.
So that's a good one to
Stay
have.
in her own space with it. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. So if someone is experiencing low energy, or they may even have physical pain, what sort of crystals could they use to assist with themselves with that?
Get me started on this one. Carnelian. It's amazing. That's an orange stone. That's your sacral plexus. That's where you place it, or you put it in your pocket.
Okay.
But the energies actually bring up, increase your confidence.
Right.
It's an energy booster.
Yes.
Increases your metabolism. It helps you to move forward. In the old time, the Romans used to use carnelian to power forward through war. But it's really good for, like, a busy mum like myself. If I'm feeling a bit tired, I'm running around, two kids going to work. Carnelian is fantastic.
Okay. And what about physical pain? So if someone's got some physical pain which has been around for a little while, and it may even be, an arthritic pain or other inflammation, do crystals assist with those?
There's a lovely combination which I think works really well, and then again that's chrysocolla, but it's with copper, so the two together, and it's very, very good for arthritis. Really good. And we're talking about also anything to do with pain. Also we're looking at the red stones like ruby, garnet, red jasper. They're really grounding stones. They ground the pain. Smoky quartz as well is really good. That's a real grounder. Again, alleviating the pain as well.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at things like bogie stones, which are great. Rose quartz is great because when you're going through a lot of pain, you need to feel really
loved.
And again, pain is also about not accepting certain things spiritually, and that's another subject altogether. So, rose quartz is excellent. Citrine is really good. Amethyst is excellent as well. Jasper's brilliant. Howlite's brilliant. All of those stones are very good for pain.
Excellent. So what about exercise then? Are there particular... Let's choose a person who is not too keen to exercise, because there's a low confidence around them doing exercise. They feel a little bit self-conscious and... not keen to exercise, or even though deep down they feel, I do need to go and it would be nice to be more mobile. What sort of crystals could assist someone who's less confident with exercising? Anything
that's, I think, just to put it in a nutshell, any red or orange stones.
Right.
So again, we're talking about sunstone, we're talking about carnelian,
movement.
We're talking about jasper, we're talking about,
symbolism of movement.
Symbolism, passion, movement, energy.
Right.
All of those are energetic stones.
Okay.
To be able to, you could have, a pouch of them, of different ones. You can carry them around with you. You can pop them in your bath water, you can pop them under your pillow.
Right.
Put them at your bedside,
Okay.
and just play with them. Just sit with them and play with them.
Oh, lovely.
That's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
But always remember, with anything that you, when you're using crystals, always make sure that you've cleansed them first.
And how would you clean a crystal?
There's different ways of cleansing. First of all, you can simply cleanse them under running water. Some stones can't be, but the majority can be. So just check which crystal you have, and just check in online or whatever, you can wash them. But mostly under running water, just to clear all the energies, because the miners have mined it, so you've got their energies. The wholesaler, their energies are on there. Whoever's packed it, their energies are on the crystal as well. So you need to clear it so it's got a nice clear start.
Okay.
And it's vibrating well.
Okay.
So that's the first thing to do, is always cleanse and energise in a crystal. You could pop it on your windowsill in the moonlight and the sunlight. So that's the next thing. Also, program them. They like to be programmed crystals. They like to know what they need to be doing for you to help you.
So is that you tell it what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say, please help me to feel more energetic. Give me the confidence to be able to exercise without being self-conscious. They're programmed.
Okay. So that really blends in nicely with, focus, attention and motivation points.
Yep.
So again, would that be red and orange stones as well?
When you talk about focus...
what about for focus?
Clear quartz.
Clear quartz.
Definitely clear quartz for focus and for intention. I think intention is very important, very powerful. So clear quartz really does amplify all the other crystals as well that you're using. It amplifies their energies, but on its own you can sit with it and work with a clear quartz to help clarity.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
We also have, and people always have old belief systems that need to kind of go before they move forward. So we're looking at, for instance, mookaite, which is an Australian crystal, and that's a very powerful earth stone. And again, it helps protect you against past failures, for instance, because people look at past failures, I can't do this because this happened. So that's really, really good.
Yes.
Kyanite's a very good one as well. Again, it sets a really good intention, and it just gets rid of those old belief patterns. It dissolves the old belief patterns, the old behaviours. Okay. So it works with you on that level as well, so that you can actually then start to move forward. So sometimes all that needs to be cleared before you intend to do something. Yeah. So it's a lot of preparation.
Yeah. I think what's come through with your talk over the last half an hour is that fundamentally it's all about bringing ourselves into the here and now. Yeah. And concentrating on the here and now. Yes. And getting our clarity over what it is we want in the here and now.
Exactly.
If we've got, female health situation, we have emotional traumas, well, what is it that I want right here, right now? To feel and to be, and absolutely. Right now, which crystal is going to assist me to get to that place more quickly?
I think what I just want to sort of make it clear that it's not It's not something to kind of stress over. Again, stress is something
Play.
I don't do. It's fun and it's
Yeah.
playful. And I think we've got to remember that in anything in our lives, to make it fun and
Yeah.
playful. So if you're choosing a crystal, you know, there's no right nor wrong. It's intuition. You go into a crystal shop and you have a look around.
Just
you
be
know,
drawn to whatever
whatever you're drawn to. You need the energy from that crystal. That crystal is calling you to work with you.
Yes.
And that's what I'd always say to everybody. Just go in there, have fun, keep
Yes.
an open mind, pick the crystals that you like to work with. Go home. There's a fantastic book by Judy Hall, The Crystal Bibles 1, 2 and 3. And you can look up, you know, and you'll be very surprised actually when you actually look up what those properties are, what the benefits are, that they relate to you.
Yes.
So always go with your intuition.
Yes, because
That's
intuition is your
key.
Yeah,
So key for everything.
so your intuition is your immediate thought. When you're asked something, it's the first thing that comes into your mind.
Exactly.
1, 2, 3, then you're into thinking mode.
Absolutely.
So just go with your
Yeah.
go with your guts
Go
and
with
learn
your
how
gut.
to trust
Yeah,
your guts.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah, go with that.
Lovely.
Yay.
So just to finish off then, Mummy, it's been a really lovely half an hour listening to you about your journey with crystals and their health benefits for us. Would you have a very simple blueprint of, you know, how to use crystals? You know, from your daily, when you wake up in the morning, what would be a nice, easy process for someone to embrace crystals in their life?
As I said, go out and go shopping first of all and get a few crystals. Just get a few crystals. Cleanse them. Find out what they're all about. Pop them on your windowsill. I mean, I have a whole line on my windowsill. I may get up in the morning. I may not pick one because I feel absolutely okay. Or you might be going to an interview, so you might want to pick one. But what I'm saying is just get up, be intuitive. You might think, right, I'm drawn to that particular crystal. Take it. It's already cleansed and energised. Say, can you work with me today? I tend to put it in my pocket, or if you've got a shirt pocket, put it in there. You can put it down your bra, your underwear. Put it in your bag. And just play with it, have it in your hand. Sometimes I just, I'll walk to work and I'll have it in my hand.
Yes.
So it's kind of working its magic.
Yes.
And I'll have it with me, stick it by the computer. Every time I'm working, I'll look at it, I'll see it, and it just reminds me.
Yes. So that's just to finish off, that's really interesting because a lot of us are not chained, but are with our computers quite a lot for quite a few hours over the course of 24 hours.
Yeah.
What crystal should you put next to your computer?
Black tourmaline.
Okay.
That's my number one.
And that will... What will that do?
It helps
That will
absorb
balance
it helps absorb the EMFs.
the EMFs.
Yeah,
okay.
Electromagnetic
field.
Yeah,
Right,
it
okay.
balances that out.
Okay, so every computer be sold with one of those.
Absolutely. Or
Yeah.
amethyst as well.
Yeah.
Amethyst is back in there again.
Excellent.
Love it.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time today,
thank you,
Bummy. It's
Michelle.
just been a joy having you here.
Oh, thank you. I've really
and thank
enjoyed
you,
myself.
thank you for sharing on the Insync journey of
Just hope it's of help.
the female. Absolutely of help, and so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle.
You have been listening to 30 Minutes at Insync, the female game, with Michelle Galbraith. If you've enjoyed your time here, subscribe on the link below and go to our website insync.life for more links to information. What would it be like if you could walk into a room with your head up and your shoulders back, and you would know that you've chosen the life that you deserve, that you have treated yourself like a girl and still be powerful, and I'm going to show you how. See you on the other side at insync.life.